Time does not heal all wounds. Effort does. I mean, think about it. If you break your leg, let's say you're walking across the yard, you step in a hole and you break your leg. Time is not going to heal this. It takes effort. I mean, you can't just lay around and wait for it to heal. You need to go to the doctor. You need to get an x-ray. You need to get a cast. You might need surgery, pins and plates and all the things that they do. You might need physical therapy. In fact, I almost guarantee you're going to need physical therapy. So you're going to need the professionals, you're going to need the help, and you're going to have to do the effort. Okay, physical therapy is not easy. You work on the sore spots, okay? People come home and go, man, that really hurt today. But this is what it takes to heal from the injury, from the wound. I'm Renee Swanson, your host of the Covert Narcissism podcast, and today we're talking about how do we heal from these wounds of covert narcissism. When you've broken your leg and you've got to deal with a cast and you've got to deal with, surgery maybe or physical therapy, it's unfortunate that it happens. It's okay to take some time and even be upset about it. The negative feelings that happen are quite normal. Maybe it's regret. If I should have seen that hole, I can't believe I stepped in it. If I'd have just walked on the sidewalk like everyone else, this wouldn't have happened. So there can be some regret that's involved. How about some frustration? Boy, this is really going to interrupt my life now. I can't even get groceries. I can barely get across my, house to go to the restroom. I've got to deal with these crutches or a wheelchair. It's a frustration. I don't have time for this in my life. Maybe self-judgment. I should have seen this coming. I should have been more careful and watched where I stepped. I can't believe I didn't see it. I'm just so stupid. And there can be self-judgment involved. How about despair? This is never going to heal. I'm going to deal with this for the rest of my life. This is going to affect the rest of my life. And so you have some glimpses of despair. Even impatience. Would this just hurry up and heal? I need to move on with my life. I don't have time for this. And even some extra caution. Now, never walk in the grass again. Boy, I'll stay on that sidewalk. All of these feelings with a broken leg are normal, and it's easy to see with a physical wound. It's a whole lot harder to see with an emotional wound. The world around you sees the physical injury. They see the cast, they see the crutches, they see, if you had surgery, they see the physical wounds, and they step in to help. They'll bring you groceries. They'll take you, to the doctor's appointments. They'll take you to the physical therapy appointments. They'll check on you. They'll validate your need for healing. What they don't do, what they don't say is, well, you did this to yourself. You go deal with the consequences. Or you should have been more careful. Next time watch where you're going. They don't say, well, you should be over this by now. They don't tell you that, 2 weeks later when you're still in a cast and on crutches. Well, you should be over this by now. Now let's look at the relationship with a covert narcissist. For many, this does not involve physical attacks. Now, I do want to say here and take a minute and acknowledge that for some it does. And if you are in a situation where physical abuse is happening, you need to get help and you need to do it now. I strongly encourage you to seek immediate help. Do not stay in a dangerous situation. Call a shelter, call a domestic, violence advocate, get some help. If you cannot find the help you need, reach out to me and I will help you to find the help that you need. So putting aside the physical violence for a moment, let's talk about emotional violence. And yes, I use the word violence here. Covert narcissism is violent. Okay, it's a slashing of your heart. It's a direct attack at you. This rips your heart in half, blaming you and never reconciling, leaving everything as your fault and everything is your responsibility to fix, refusing to take any responsibility of their own, refusing to help carry the weight of the world around you, leaving gaping holes where connection and closeness should be. This is violent. People will say, well, at least this isn't physical abuse. For those of you listening, for those of you who have suffered at the hands of a covert narcissist, are you really able to tell me that this isn't physical? How does your body feel? How many trips to the doctor have you made? How does your heart feel? How is it reacting to the things that you've been through? This abuse is very physical, and it takes a deep internal toll. Just because the world can't see the wounds does not mean this isn't physical. Your heart has been hit repeatedly. You know, it's normal for hearts to be hurt in relationships, okay? Non-narcissistic, non-manipulative relationships. Little things happen. Just like, it's normal to walk through your house and bump your leg on furniture. Little bumps and bruises in life happen. People hurt each other when they don't mean to. But these wounds, they're acknowledged and they're cared for. It's like the little cuts in life. When, you get a cut, you tend to it. Maybe your partner helps you out. They'll put medicine on it, a bandage on it. They might get you an ice pack. They might give you a little extra special care, check on you, make sure you're okay, ask you about it the next day. In non-narcissistic relationships, these wounds happen. But partners care for each other's wounds. They put some effort into soothing that wound. So when the wounds are to the heart, they make sure that their partner feels heard and cared for. They put the effort in. They put healthy attention into each other. Covert narcissists do not do this. Your heart gets stabbed, and they seemingly do not care one bit. In fact, they drive that knife in deeper with words like, well, this isn't my fault. You did this to yourself. You need to take care of, fixing this. This is your problem. Or maybe they completely ignore the wound, like it doesn't exist at all, giving you the silent treatment, going to that, thing we call abuse amnesia. The wound doesn't even exist. Or they play the victim, expressing how they are the ones wounded. When you are sitting there with a heart that is gaping open, and they're the ones wounded, demanding that you make it right with them. Well, this is like someone, dropping a knife that cuts your arm, okay? Maybe it started with an accident, supposedly. You are bleeding, you're in need of help, and with no acknowledgement of the blood that is pouring out of you, they spurt out, I think something must be wrong with my hand. I think you did this to me. I can't believe it. Here, you need to wrap my hand with that bandage and go get me an ice pack. While you're standing there with blood dripping out of you onto the floor. Well, this may sound ridiculous, and it is, but it's exactly what is going on with covert narcissism. It's exactly what's going on with the wounds that your heart is suffering. You are bleeding out, and they are demanding sympathy and attention. This is emotional violence, and it is very physical. The chemical overload that you are experiencing inside of you has an extreme physical effect. Let's talk for a minute about the fight or flight response. I talk about it a lot in my podcast. It is a very physical response. Your heart is pounding out of your chest. Your muscles tighten up. Your blood flow constricts. Your mouth constricts. Your mouth goes dry. I mean, your saliva glands don't even work right in the fight or flight. This is physical. Your digestive system shuts down. Your reproductive systems quit, being the focus and quit working as well right then. All of this happens. Your pupils dilate. Your hormones go crazy. This is a physical effect. It's an attack. In essence, it's an attack from within. It's an attack from behind your defensive walls, an attack on your heart, your blood pressure, your lungs, your stomach, your hormones, your muscles, your brain. Well, let's talk about the brain for a minute. This is an attack on your mind, your memory, your perceptions, your viewpoints, your reality. In the fight or flight mode, your memory and your cognitive abilities are threatened. This emotional violence, it interferes with your ability to focus, to concentrate, to remember, to think clearly. Your brain and your heart are physical. And again, there's nothing not physical about this abuse. Well, now let's go back to the analogy of the broken leg, the feelings that it brings and the way it heals. What were those feelings? I mentioned regret, frustration, self-judgment. Well, let's talk through some of these. How about when we're dealing with covert narcissism? Do you have any feelings of regret? I should have seen the signs. Why did I stay in the relationship? Why didn't I leave sooner? I hear these words all the time from the people I work with. How about feelings of frustration? I think that one's easy to see. The frustration of, this is going to interrupt everything in my world. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, but then you got to face it. So it has already interrupted your world. You just didn't know it, and now you know it. And then you're going, okay, I don't even have time for this. I can't even hardly function in my world anymore. I can't get out of bed. How about self-judgment? I should have been more careful. I should have seen this coming. I should have watched what I was doing. I was so stupid to get into this relationship, especially if you've repeated relationships with narcissists. You know, people that were in a relationship with an overt narcissist, and then they find themselves in a relationship with a covert narcissist. There's a heavy amount of self-judgment there. What about despair? This is never going to heal. Maybe even the despair is, I'm never going to be able to get free from all of this. But let's say you do, and now you feel horrible on the inside because you think, okay, once I get out, I'm going to feel great about, just having peace in my world. But that's not what happens. You get out and you are overloaded with all of these feelings and emotions that have been trapped inside of you. So you feel horrible. And then you think, I'm going to feel like this for the rest of my life. I'm going to tell you right now, no, you're not. This is not permanent, but healing, time doesn't heal all wounds. Effort does. What about impatience? Okay, we definitely have some feelings of impatience. Would this just hurry up and heal? I really need to move on with my life. I need to get past this, especially when our friends and family are telling us, hey, you need to move on. You need to quit talking about it. You need to quit thinking about it, and let's just move on. I'm telling you right now, that is not how you heal from covert narcissistic abuse. It just doesn't work that way. That's like trying to heal from a broken leg by ignoring it. How about caution? I'll never trust anyone ever again. A lot of people come to me saying that and feeling that way. You can trust again. It can happen, and I strongly encourage it, but it starts with trusting yourself. That is part of that healing. So with that broken leg analogy that I gave a little bit ago, people say, what people don't say is, well, you did this to yourself. You should have been more careful. You go get your own food. That is not what they say. But what about when you're dealing with the broken heart and the broken mind? Things you do hear people say. Well, you're the one that chose them. You knew that they were like this. You did this to yourself. Can't you just move on? I'm kind of tired of hearing about it. You don't receive the same space for healing as you do for the broken leg. And this just adds to your pain and confusion. So finally, I come to healing. Time does not heal this. Effort does. It takes emotional therapy. A broken leg takes physical therapy. A broken heart and a broken mind takes emotional therapy. There are steps to work through, plans to follow, and options that are available to you. If you want to work through these steps with me, great, come on, I'm all in. But whether you do this with me or anyone else, be purposeful about your healing. Like the relationship with a physical therapist, this is not long-term therapy. When you go to physical therapy, you go and they teach you what to do, and then you go home and you do the things. That's how this works. It's about teaching you the steps to do, the exercises to do, and you doing them. The more committed you are, the more effective the therapy, the more effective the healing. The information is all in my podcast sporadically, throughout these episodes. But in my coaching sessions, I lay it out for you in an organized plan, an individually tailored program just for you and the specifics of your situation, individually or in group. It's a journey of healing. If you want more information on that, come find me. My website is www.covertnarcissism.com. It's never too late to get on that path of healing. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Do the next right thing now. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing.